Hi guys, welcome again. This week we're going to be talking about training rotation. So before we start, please press the red subscribe button on the screen to subscribe to the YouTube channel. These videos are starting to build up now, so it would be quite good to get the number of subscribers up. Thank you. So a lot of people, when they're coming to exercise, will really do one type of exercise exclusively. They'll do running and they'll run, say, 3 times a week, and they won't really do anything other than run. You know, they might do a little bit of stretching here and there, but that's really it. They don't really touch on anything in the resistance realm. They don't touch on anything in terms of other cardio like swimming or cycling or really anything like that. And it's the same story on the other side when you're looking at people doing weight training. They will tend to do some form of weightlifting. They'll do that 3 to 5 times a week, and they won't really touch on cardio or on really any stretches or anything like that. And that exclusivity really, at the beginning, doesn't have too much of an impact because it's a new thing, it's a new adaptation for the body, and the body therefore is trying to adapt to the new stimulus. So there's no real problem with doing that right at the beginning. The problem comes in the medium and then in the long term, and that's what we're going to focus on. So what happens in the medium term is once you've created some level of adaptation to that, and let's take running as our example. Once you've created that adaptation to running and you're running 3 times a week, your body knows it's running 3 times a week. So it knows how much calorie expenditure it needs, it knows what calorie input it needs to bring in, and it can cope and handle that. And then the result of that is that you still see some gains, but the gains start to tail off. Whereas before you might have been seeing performance increases and weight loss or whatever your goal will be, when you hit the medium term, you start to see that taper off. The weight loss starts to taper off and you really don't see very much more. And your performance gains, although they improve a little bit, they don't really improve too much more. The reason why this happens is because your body is now starting to adapt. And really, you've got a couple of choices here. You can put in more runs, or you can change the length of the runs to still see if you can create stimulus, and you will do if you do that. Or you can add in other things that create an adaptation. So in this instance, with running, that would be adding in some level of resistance training. So strength work, endurance work, really working the muscles of the body by focusing on technique, on lifting strength, will have a huge benefit at this point because it's a new adaptation, and that new adaptation causes some level of muscle increase, muscle growth, some level of muscle tonnage, and what that will then give you is a better outcome in your runs because you've now got more muscle to utilize for those runs. At the same time, adding in some form of mobility work will give you more range of motion. And more range of motion means you can access more of your body's muscle. More of your body's muscle means you can put more of that into your runs. And that means better performance in runs. So what we've done here is we've created a more rounded program. We've added in not just the runs, some resistance and some mobility. And that combination is what's really going to see your performance increase. And that's why when you look at some people on Strava, they're going from runs that are, say, 6.5 minutes a kilometre down to 5.5 minutes a kilometre in a very relatively short space of time because they're not using a traditional, I'm going to run 3 times a week and do nothing else approach, which is the type of thing that you see when you get most of the downloaded running programs. You're actually seeing a proper program that's been set up and designed around running, which is more holistic. And that's the key here. So when I'm talking about training variety, I mean adding in auxiliary things that are going to benefit from a wider standpoint. It's not just about doing the thing you want to do, it's also adding in things that are going to benefit that as well. So putting in the resistance training, even if you don't really want to, you know, you're not that keen on doing it, even if it's a small amount of it, will have a huge benefit for the runs that you actually want to do, and vice versa. If weight training is your key area, adding in some mobility work, you know, spending half an hour to an hour a week on mobility has a huge upswing in terms of what you can gain from your resistance training. So don't ignore the other areas. Make sure your training is well-rounded. Make sure you've got all the training variety you need in your program. Okay, thanks for watching again, guys, and I'll see you next week.